I'm smelling coffee and birds are singing just outside. Here comes your mercy, streaming in with the morning light. My heart's racing, waking up to your smile, saying good morning. Good morning.
All right, so good morning. Welcome back to Breakfast with the Bible. Today is Friday, so we're we're in Psalm 33 still. We're covering 12 to 19. I'll go ahead and read those verses now. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom he hath chosen for his own inheritance. The Lord looketh from heaven, he beholdeth all the sons of men. From the place of his habitation he looketh upon all the inhabitants of the earth. He fashioneth their hearts alike. He considereth all their works. There is no king saved by the multitude of an host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. A horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death, and to keep them alive in famine. All right, so at first glance, we can gather that this is a specific, in context, is referring to the nation of Israel. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Old Testament, we're still referring to the chosen people of Israel. However, in a broader sense, this is referring to everyone chosen by God. So if we look at 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. So now we've gone from the Jews, from the Israelites, in the Old Testament. Now we've gathered ourselves from God's chosen people as a nation to God's chosen people as a whole. So 1 Peter 2, 9, says, But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. God's chosen people are those who have been called out of darkness into marvelous light. This isn't just the nation of Israel. Of course, it is including the nation of Israel, but in a broader sense, it is anybody who will, at some point, put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ. Ephesians chapter 1 is also a good example. Verse 4. According as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. So this is Paul's letter to the Ephesians. Paul's gospel went to the Gentiles. Paul was to preach to the other people. Okay, so when Jesus came, his audience was the Jews. His audience was particular. And then when Paul came, his audience was the Gentiles. Now Paul is saying that they also have been chosen. So we are chosen if we are to put our faith in Jesus Christ. 2 Thessalonians, one more time. Chapter 2, verse 13. I have a stuffy nose today. But we are bound to give thanks always to God for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. Again, Paul is talking to Gentiles. He's talking to the church in Thessalonica, and he says, hath from the beginning chosen you. So while the author of Psalm 33 is referring to the nation of Israel specifically, it is including those of us in today's society and anybody else in any society whatsoever who have put their faith in Jesus Christ as chosen, because in Paul says that we have been chosen from the beginning as well. So that being said, let's move on to verse 13 and 14. So the Lord looketh from heaven, he beholdeth all the sons of men. From the place of his habitation, he looketh upon all the inhabitants of the earth. So verse 12 is a grand statement, a large earth-size scale. But verse 13 hones in on the individual. The Lord looketh from heaven and beholdeth all the sons of men, each of us individually. So blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Blessed is the nation. This is an entire group of people, and the people whom he hath chosen. So verse 12 is this umbrella statement. Blessed is the nation. Blessed who, what people. Verse 13 and 14, the Lord looketh from heaven and beholdeth all the sons of men. So now we've gone from the group to the person. So the Lord beholds the sons of men. God is interested in you. God is interested in me. He sits on his throne, high above Almighty God over all creation, and pays attention to your need. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Blessed is the man who puts his trust in Jesus Christ. He pays attention. God pays attention to you as an individual. He pays attention to me. He pays attention to that guy over there. And all for this grand purpose. For he has chosen us as believers. And the New Testament says, cast your care upon him because he cares for you. This is a specific interest in each of our lives. If we move on to verse 15, he fashioneth their hearts alike. He considereth all their works. Spurgeon wrote, all their hearts are equally fashioned by the Lord, kings' hearts as well as the hearts of beggars. And because we are created by God, he is the ultimate authority on inspecting our works, determining our motives. So, he fashioneth their hearts alike. He considereth all their works. God is interested in you. God is interested in your works. God is interested in what you're doing. If we think of, in the New Testament, about when Jesus says that God pays attention to the sparrow. Aren't you much more valuable than many sparrows? So verse 16, there is no king saved by the multitude of a host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. The psalmist understood here that nothing at all happens outside of God's sovereignty. Spurgeon again wrote, all along the line of history, this verse has been verified. The strongest battalions melt like snowflakes when God is against them. Strength alone will not save a man if God is opposed to it. There is no king saved by the multitude of a host alone. Okay, a strong and effective. Let's see. We'll go on to 17 real quick. A horse is a vain thing for safety; neither shall he deliver any by his strength. Okay, a strong and effective horse was a military use in that day. Horses were important. A simple reliance in such a creature is vain and empty. Even the mightiest horse may fall in battle. But the point here is if a man is saved, if a king is saved by a multitude, in our perspective, in our horizontal, in a mighty man delivered by much strength. It's not saying it can't be done, but the context here is that it's not done apart from God. It's not done without him. The king is not saved by a multitude of a host, unless, of course, that God says, this is going to happen, or I'm going to allow this to happen. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength by himself. Apart from Christ, you can do nothing. A mighty man is delivered by much strength along with God's authority, God's overseeing. We recall the statement regarding the Titanic. Okay, remember, I don't exactly remember who said it, but it was quoted that said, not even God could sink this ship. Okay, we must be careful where we put our confidence. Okay, I won't get into whether or not God did it to stifle the proudness of the man who said it. That's not my place to say. But we could all agree that God allowed it to happen. So even God couldn't sink this ship is kind of a vain statement, because if anybody is able to sink such a ship, God would be the one. So a mighty man is not delivered by much strength alone. A horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his strength. A horse is not. Put your faith, put your confidence in the use of it, not necessarily the horse itself, because horse will fail, men will fail, God will never fail. Verse 18, behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy. Okay, this is where we get to, we go to Matthew chapter 10. And I think I referenced this too soon. Let's see, Matthew chapter 10, verse 29 to 31. Yep, there it is. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear ye not, therefore, you are more value than many sparrows. Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him. God is focused on you. God's eyes are on you. He's watching you. He's paying attention to you. He's upon them that hope. If we hope in his mercy, if we fear the Lord, if we trust Jesus Christ, if we have this faith in him, he has this intention. He's focused. He's attentive to our needs. He's attentive to what we're going through. He wants us to be in fellowship with him. He cares for us. Verse 19, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. He's not going to stop you from dying earthly here. Eventually you will. But the author is saying, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death, to keep them from the ultimate death, to keep them from dying the death that Christ has overcome, and to keep them alive in famine. Trapp says, freedom from troubles he promises not, but deliverance in due time he assures them. To deliver their soul from death is really to keep them, to maintain their salvation, to keep his promise to them. You've put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ. God's eye is on you, paying attention to you, paying attention to your needs. He's keeping you. He's keeping your salvation safe, to keep them alive in famine. When the earth falls apart, when this isn't necessarily the I'm running out of food kind of famine. This is a dryness. This is God saying, I will maintain you. I will keep you safe ultimately. And that's the God we have. With a few minutes, we'll go ahead and cover 20, 21, and 22. Our soul waiteth for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. So the author praises God all the way up to this point. And he's referring to God's protecting us. Our soul waiteth for the Lord. So we're patiently waiting for God to do, verse 19, to deliver our soul from death and to keep us alive in famine. Our soul waits for the Lord patiently. He's going to deliver our soul from death. We're going to spend eternity with him, and our soul patiently waits for that day. He is our help and our shield. So not only are we waiting for him, but he's protecting us. He is our help. He's giving us the strength to endure. He's giving us the ability to wait patiently and to wait almost contently. For our heart shall rejoice in him because we have trusted in his holy name. We wait for him because we know. Because we know our heart will rejoice in him and does rejoice in him. Because we've trusted in his holy name. We know God's holy name. We've read about his holy name and how we can trust him and how David himself puts confidence in God regardless of what he's going through. And we can trust that our heart will rejoice. Again, I go back to New Testament. Rejoice in the Lord always. For our heart shall rejoice in him because we have trusted in his holy name. We can wait for God to deliver our soul from death because we will rejoice because we have trusted. We can wait because we trust him. 22, let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us according as we hope in thee. Closing it with, Lord, let your mercy continue. Maintain your promise. Keep us safe. We should pray for mercy every day because we need it. Let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us. And the author again, us as a whole, according as we have hope in thee. Lord, we trust you. Lord, we hope in you. Let an equal amount of mercy be bestowed upon us. Let your mercy cover us. Let your mercy keep us safe. And the author is not saying give us more than that you think you should. But give us mercy according as we have hope. I trust you this much. Give me this much. It's this kind of like I want to say it's like this not greedy kind of idea. Lord, I trust you this much. I don't believe you should give me more mercy than that. Because if I don't trust you enough, then maybe I shouldn't get as much mercy. So I should put all of my trust in you so I get all of your mercy. Maybe, kind of an idea. But it's this, our soul waits. It's this confident expectation, this hope, this trust, verse 20, 21, and 22, waiting, rejoicing, trusting, and hoping. All of those things together are wondrous. And we should do all of that. Now this waiting isn't this sitting back twiddling our thumbs, just not doing anything. This is an active waiting. Because we're going to rejoice. We're going to trust. Those are doing things. We're hoping. We are confidently expecting God to keep his promise to us. So, we've just finished Psalm 33. I was going to save those 3 verses for Monday, but since they were only 3 of them, I kind of squeezed them in. So I'm debating on what to do next week. I may take another time to kind of catch up on study. I guess we'll find out Monday. So like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, comment, do those things you do. And we'll see you next time. God bless.